We've tried 4 times now to make a phone call to Ukraine. This is going to be the 5th time to see what's going on. We're talking with Joe here in the next couple of minutes with a couple of his friends. This is the first time that I've talked with Joe in, I want to say, over a month. Things have changed so much over there in Ukraine. Okay, let's try it through Facebook and see. This is where we've been talking to him the past couple of times. Here we go. Our text messages are reaching each other, but it seems like we can't get a call to each other from the United States to Ukraine. So I'm going to disconnect from Facebook. I'm going to go back to Signal to find out what's going on there, see if maybe we can get through that. Like I said, our text messages are working. We just can't seem to connect via a phone call. We should be in a better signal. There you are.
Arrow, hello.
There you are. What are you doing, buddy? Once again, you have to keep telling yourself that this is, halfway across the planet.
Arrow, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
This will be closer to a city where everything.
So you want to wait for a little bit then?
Yeah, can we do that? I'm so sorry, but.
All right, I'll call you back in 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Bye, guy. What's going on, you guys?
Hey, Arrow, can you hear us clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
We are in the countryside. We can see the stars like nothing else because everything is dark. We are in Donetsk region of Ukraine.
We are literally in the middle of a field.
Yeah, in the middle of a field, in the stars. It's after curfew, so everything's dark. We are racing to get back to the city of Dnipro. I'm here with my friend Anton. Anton, introduce yourself.
So my name is Anton Huturak, and I'm a former student of Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv. And here I am with Joe Lindsley, and we are traveling throughout Donbass together. So,
we were just delivering some supplies. We'd raised money from a band from Ohio, some musicians. They raised money, and we were able to buy boots and other material for soldiers. So we took it close to the front lines. And Arrow, we just had the most amazing interview with a couple who live in a small town, a small city.
Yeah, a small city named Selidovo. It's for about 35 kilometers from Donetsk, which was occupied by Russians in 2014. So it's like really close to front lines.
And we sat in the dark on a bench with just little tiny lights and talked to this couple about what it's like. They have a young daughter and what it's like to live so close to the front. I mean, every night they hear shelling. Their city's been hit pretty frequently. So we're really, and that's why I wanted to talk to you while we were here, because we're really at the edge. You can feel like as we're driving these winding, the beautiful hedges and the fields of this very fertile region, you can feel the evil is so close, Arrow. We're right in the epicenter of the battle between good and evil for the whole world.
I'll tell you, on this side of the planet, I mean, we were deeply bothered that Mikhail Gorbachev was not honored the way that he should have been from Putin. And so what you guys are in the center of something that, like you said, the good and evil. And on this side, we're seeing the good and evil as well when a nation does not recognize one of their greatest leaders.
Yeah, I think, it's no surprise. I mean, Putin obviously hates freedom, and I think here I was surprised people didn't talk about Gorbachev so much because everything's more immediate here. For example, I think it was the day after he died on our current trip here through the country, reporting and delivering supplies. We were in the city of Nikopol, which is right across from the largest nuclear plant in Europe.
Yes. So
there's this imminent threat. There's not really, and actually yesterday, Arrow, was the anniversary, September 1st, was when Germany, by hitting Lviv, which is in Ukraine, and so, but people don't have time to think about these historical things right now because we have the clear and present danger of what might happen to the nuclear plant. You currently have the International Atomic Energy officials are at that plant now, but the Russians are not letting them interact with the Ukrainian employee in the city Nikopol, which is right across the Russian. Arrow. I was in that city in May before they got hit, and it's completely different.
Mm.
I mean, it's Russian roulette just to be anywhere in that town, because that you not only can you get hit by missiles, but you can be hit from artillery fire from across the river, day or night, anytime. And people still have to work, but many people drive out into the fields to sleep in their cars. It's the only way to kind of be safe.
Right, right. So Joe, one of the biggest stories that's been on this side of the planet is the way that Iran has sent over drones to Russia to help them. Is that really a bother to those that are inside Ukraine right now?
Well, I would say, look, I mean, Russia is a tyrannical regime. So is Iran, and so tyrannical regimes stand against free countries, and so let's focus on the free countries of the world stand with Ukraine. Countries be communism, but the weapons from the United States, like the HIMARS, that when they began to arrive in the early summer, that has changed the course of this war. You take. You got this amazing equipment. And Arrow, the land that we were in now and the places we were earlier today, were not for some of these weapons, could easily have fallen into Russian hands. But it was because of the arrival of those long-range weapons from America that Ukrainians have Russians have barely gained a mile throughout the course of the summer, throughout the past 2 months. And so, and meanwhile, we have some reports. There's a lot of sketchy details, but it seems that Ukraine is making a great counteroffensive has been occupied for months, and so we still don't quite know what's happening there, but we know that there's definitely a pushback. Focus is on the free people of the world uniting.
Yeah, but I would like to add that, in Kherson region, we have such a situation that we cannot talk about it. We need to get a pause, because it's a kind of strategy for Ukraine not to, show all our cards, because enemy could use it also. Yep. And we just need to have, this informational pause for all of this. That's why we are still waiting for.
Let me. Oh, did I just hear crickets in the background? There's war around you, and I just heard crickets.
Yeah, because we're in the field. That's it. And that's a good thing when you can hear the crickets and not the sounds of war.
Isn't that amazing? That it's you talk about the universe saying, I'm present. Okay, let's figure this out, people. So let me ask you.
Yeah, Arrow, I've seen that. That's Ukrainian democracy. The way everyone collaborates, for victory together. Whether it's raising money to get supplies or knowing when to keep your mouth quiet. About and that old saying, loose lips sink ships. But you see this country's like an organism that's been attacked by a horrible virus,
right.
And every person is a cell collaborating and working together in different ways to victory every day here.
One of the things that we keep hearing a lot of news about is the way that Russia is turning off fuel to different parts of Europe and things like that. Is that their way of trying to do a rebuttal, or what are they trying to do to stop the outside world from coming in? What are the Russians up to? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I mean the Russians know that's that's a power they have, especially over Germany. Germany has been so reliant on Russian energy, and this is why Germany's been a bit more reluctant to help Ukraine than other nations. The pipeline that goes from Russia, one of them runs through Ukraine to Germany. I was hiking in the forest in the mountains here a few weeks ago, and I stumbled upon this pipeline. I could touch it, sort of like touching a bit of Mordor. That is, the gas continues to flow. It's the same as Putin's tactics with the nuclear plant. Mm-hmm. He knows by holding the largest nuclear plant in Europe, which is Ukrainian, that he can keep everyone scared and on the edge. And these are his negotiating chips. And so he's, and sometimes the United Nations officials say, "Oh, how can you can't use energy for warfare?" But I think that misses the point. Putin, he wants to win, and cross the line on February 24th when he hit civilians in Kharkiv. You can't use civilians for warfare. And so I think we kind of miss the point when we start to worry too much about energy. We got to remember what happened in the Kyiv suburbs in Irpin and Bucha, where civilians were slaughtered and raped. And I think that sometimes that gets missed. People think more about the financial cost, but you got to remember the human cost. And we think of this, World War II started, yesterday was the anniversary of it, and everyone said never again. Do we really mean it?
Right. Well, isn't September 2nd also the day that Japan they signed with the United States that our battle with them was over?
You know that better than I, but I'll take your word for it.
because we're in a situation where it seems like we have stepped back 80 years to a time where it's like, okay, well, nobody paid attention. Nobody's learning from this. And I have to ask you being in the center of your storm and we on the outside as bystanders and viewers, in a really weird way, the world is helping Ukraine. Are we not at World War III?
Yeah. You put it. I get a little bit of a chill when you say it like that. But on the positive side, this is something you didn't have in World War II. Here we are standing, in a field right at the edge, really. Where this war is, one of the key places where the war is happening, and we're able to speak to you, able to share with people the true stories of what's happening here. And that's why people around the world support Ukraine, because they get to see the reality. It's not some foreign mystery to them. Right. And so I think that's the great thing about it. And yeah, it is a world war. It's between good and evil. But I think it's, I think there's a lot of, in many ways, there's some problems in the West, but a lot of it is being played pretty intelligently. And you couple that with Ukrainian bravery, and that's a good source of optimism. But yes, it's a world war. Everyone is involved.
So we've learned that a lot of the planes from Russia are now equipped and are capable of carrying nuclear missiles. Does that not get inside your head and heart while you're traveling the countryside?
Yeah, it's. There's a lot of thoughts, especially traveling these roads. It's. We were looking at the largest nuclear plant. We saw it 2 days ago. You could see it across the river, which the Russians occupy. There is the fear that they would use strategic nuclear weapons or some kind. This remains a fear. It's hard to know the mind of Putin, and I think this is one reason why some of the support from Western nations has been a little bit reluctant. They are afraid of pushing too far. Anton.
Yeah, I would say that here it's very hard to predict what will happen, and because Russia is acting like a medieval approach, they just started a war which no one could believe that it will happen. So you cannot predict what will happen next, because our enemy is unpredictable, and we will see. We don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, and the scary thing I think we gotta really remember, and I think sometimes the European and American officials forget this. Putin wants to win, and he's not gonna be scared. Oh, you can't use nuclear energy as a weapon. No, of course, he'll use anything he can as a weapon. And we have to realize that and as we plan how to fight back.
So
and we realize that Putin just gave everything on the line. The future of his country, future of his people, lives of his soldiers, etc. He actually wants to win, and we can see it right now. We can witness it.
One of the things, Joe, that you're doing that I don't think I've seen anywhere else is the fact that you're showing videos as well as you're doing a podcast where you're showing Ukrainians singing together in harmony. They are standing united, and you are not afraid to say, "Hey, look what's happening in this nation."
Yeah, and I think we didn't have social media in World War II, so people don't know what civilian life is like. How everyone was involved in the war in the same way. But now we can really see a picture of it. And for example, when we were in Odessa the other day, and people were singing Ukrainian songs in the streets. That's a Russian-speaking city, but they're singing in Ukrainian. Really reclaiming their culture. But when I hear these people sing, part of it's because they don't know if they'll be around tomorrow. Right. You have to have these moments of joy, but it also gives you the energy you need to keep going and to keep fighting. You can't lose your culture and identity while you're fighting for it, because then you start to lose.
It's interesting that you say culture and identity, because in Putin's eyes, there is no culture and identity. It's Russian. And I love the fact that you guys are saying, no, this is Ukrainia.
Yeah, and Ukraine, and I've learned so much, about the deep Cossack roots of Ukraine. These are freedom people. These are people that can't be controlled. Because they govern themselves and their communities and their families, and their church. And it's a culture of, I think, first and foremost, of freedom. And that's the thing that the Russians don't know. They don't know this thing called freedom, and I think they're afraid of it, and that's what Putin's seeking to destroy and wipe out.
I gotta go.
Sorry.
No, please continue.
Yeah, I'm saying we got to go too because we're after curfew and we got to hit the road.
Okay, buddy. I was with your grandmother today. She loves you. Okay, your grandmother and I spent some time together today. Oh my God, what a beautiful woman.
Oh, good. If you see my family, give them my best, and hello to everyone in Charlotte. And Errol, thanks so much for helping us share the reality of life here in Ukraine, life and more.
All right.
Thanks so much.
We'll talk again soon, please.
Thank you, sir. Bye.